Alright. Hi, Keith Dyke, Vancouver Fire Department, here to go over basic pump operation and morning rig check, what to look for when you're getting ready to start your shift so you can know your pump's ready to operate. First thing you're going to do is check your water level. Make sure that your water level lights come on. If you don't like listening to the beeper, you can silence the alarm. Check your water level, make sure that it's full and all lights are working. Make sure you know where all the valves are. Each pump panel is laid out a little differently, so you got driver, front and rear stack load here. On this one you have passenger front stack load here and passenger's rear stack load here. It's easy to think that they might be here, but they're not. They're there. You have passenger side discharges, your number 2 and large diameter discharge. Your driver side discharges 1 and 3 right here. Your bumper load or front discharge. Tank fill or recirc line for keeping your pump cool and filling the tank. Your deck gun or deluge discharge, and your rear discharges for 2.5 condo and pre-connect. You have your primer. Make sure that's working. Make sure you're familiar with your governor. Exercise your tank to pump so that doesn't stick. Your rear inlet. Make sure that you know how that operates. Rear inlet operates kind of slow on this style. You have to hold it for an extended period of time until the light comes on. On the far side, light's on. I don't know if you can see that on the video. Be careful not to pull on the backside. We've had these kind of switches fly off on a fire when somebody tried to stick their finger behind it and do a little pull. Rear inlet bleed, make sure that's open. Evacuate air out of your rear inlet when it's charged. Engine cooler, that can be left on for additional cooling for the engine during pumping operations. And then just your bleeders, they should be closed. They should be closed when you do your rig check in the morning. Full of water. We're going to make sure that we know where all our valves are on the pump panel. Each pump panel is laid out a little different, and it can be important to familiarize with your pump in the morning so that you don't have to look for each valve. This one, for example, driver's front rear stack load, and so you'd think passenger's front rear stack load are here. We have our passenger side discharges, number 2 and large diameter. Driver side discharges, number 1 and 3. Have your bumper line or front discharge. Your tank fill, of course, you're going to want to know where that is for tank fill and for recirculating to keep your pump cool. Deluge or deck gun, and then your rear discharges for 2.5 condo and rear pre-connect down. You have your tank to pump. It's always good to cycle that a couple times. That's a quarter-turn valve inside a rubber flapper that we've had problems with those sticking if they're not exercised periodically. So if you just run that in and out 2 or 3 times each morning, you'll make sure you don't have that problem. You can refamiliarize with the governor. Each governor across the department may be a little bit different than another one, so it's good to look at that. Look at where your rear inlet valve is. You can make sure that your rear inlet bleed is open. You want to have that just in the open position so that when you're charged, it automatically evacuates the air coming into the rear of the pump, so you don't end up with a cavitation problem and air going out to guys operating on lines. Engine cooler. This one was off. We can leave the engine cooler on at all times. There's really not a reason to have it off. It just circulates a little bit of pump water through a heat exchanger to give the engine additional cooling to keep it cool during pump operations when you're not moving down the road and getting air through the radiator. Not quite as important, but you can look and make sure that all your bleeders, where they are, you make sure that they're closed. And then you can look at what your display is so that you know where your gauges are. It's a good idea to keep an eye on, especially your temperature gauge while you're operating. Oil pressure is important as well. You should have an alarm if you end up with low oil pressure, similar to the one that I silenced. And it's a good idea to just bump your primer, make sure that it's operational. You have several components there that can fail electrically or mechanically, so you can make sure that's working in the morning as well. Oh, are we going through putting it in gear now, or?
Yeah, well, we'll get the gear shot, but just same thing, walk them through, put it in gear, look for the light.
Okay. So, is it ready?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so in-cab procedures for putting the pump in gear. We make sure the vehicle's fully stopped, set the parking brake, shift to neutral, make sure that your speedometer is all the way down to 0. It should be, because you're stopped. Go ahead and smoothly shift your pump shift to from the road position to the pump position. You can hear the click when the pump transmission shifts in. Look for the light shifted into pump gear. Probably hard to see in the video, but it's on. And at that point, you can exit the vehicle to go back.
No, I stopped everything and put everything out.
Okay, great. Yeah, so put it in drive and take the brake off, and then we'll go from, setting the brake, putting it in neutral, putting the pump in gear, and then putting it back in drive.
Okay.
So you want to set the brake in neutral, pump gear,